enterprises can have more than 50 different security tools that they need to deploy. And then one of their main problems is how do they actually monitor all these things? Because they have so many different systems, how do they understand what's happening actually? Because all of these systems separately are sending alerts, and a typical what's called a security operations center, which is a team that sits and stares 24/7 at the screens to monitor security threats. They actually are faced with thousands of alerts every day. So what Siemplify is doing is actually sitting on top of all the existing security system in the organization, automatically monitoring all these different alerts, and then helps the security team and the security operations team focus on the right threats. They tell them which are actually the threats they need to deal with, and they help run the entire operation between managing the incidents, investigating them, and initiating a response. And we can actually allow them to initiate a response automatically and reduce the time it takes to respond to these threats tenfold. And I'll show you a few of the examples here. What you see is first is a dashboard. I mean, they told me to give you a demo and not just a presentation, so I'll do this fast. But the first thing that the security manager can see is how the different systems, how different analysts are doing, because they need to manage sometimes 20, 30 different people that are working in shifts to monitor the different systems. So you can see what are the different systems that create most of the alerts, what are the different types of attacks that my network is facing, and so on. And actually, instead of sitting on top of 20 different tools and monitoring and logging into a lot of different screens to see what's happening, we actually take all of that and we do some analytics, of course, because we're a cybersecurity company. And then we show you a list of incidents that actually the analyst needs to deal with. So instead of, like, again, I don't know what's happening here, but instead of seeing each of these alerts individually, you have these cases that are already prioritized. And each of these contains the data from all the underlying security systems, and the analyst knows this is what I need to start from. And you can have all of these different cases already prioritized. The second phase is if the security engineer wants to understand what happened. What they do today is they need to look at tables and logs and data sources, write queries, and basically waste a lot of time. Oh, I'm screaming.
It's so close.
Sorry, it's because it's so cold. I'm used to be screaming. So in any case, can you hear me fine?
Yes.
Right. So the second phase is usually to help the security team really fast understand what happened, and instead of looking at log files and actual raw data, they can see a visual representation of how the attack looks like, or at least they should be able to see. And then we can take the security team step by step in a very visual way and show them what the first thing that happened, the second thing that happened, the third thing, and this basically cuts down tremendously the amount of time it takes to do an investigation. I'll take it a step farther and I'll show you how they can ask some questions from one centralized place. And basically I can ask a question very generically. I can ask, all right, this host or IP might have been compromised. Who else was it in touch with? What user was logged on? What entities it was communicating with? A lot of data that's scattered across all different systems. I can get this all in one click, filter to see only the users, and then basically pivot my investigation across all the different tools. The last thing that we help the security team do is drive some consistency into responding to the threats, which basically means that they can build different types of workflows, and they can create orchestrations that then initiate responses automatically. So instead of somebody responding manually to an incident, we can define really quickly and really easily a runbook that would be executed, or be manual to provide the analysts with a workflow that they would be manually performing, but then you can drive the consistency into how to perform the different threats, or you can automate some of these actions, and then you can dramatically enhance the efficiency of the response. And you can create these things very dynamically and assign them to different incidents. I think I'm in 5 minutes, exactly. Any questions so far? So basically cybersecurity, everybody. And if you saw, the latest Jason Bourne movie, where they show this screen and like a sun of different hosts connected to it, and how the data is escaping, So basically, we're helping visualize that and help them understand quickly who was the attacker.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We have a question.
Very good question.
Questions? Do you have some clients already using it? And what kind of clients are they?
Yeah, so we basically mostly work with big organizations that have security monitoring. So the organization is mostly, from I'd say 1,000 employees up. And at that point, usually they reach a situation where they deploy so many different security tools that they need somebody to be actively monitoring them. And the more they have security monitoring systems and the more they have people that are in charge of that, they are basically being flooded with alerts, and it's very hard for them to prioritize and to do root cause analysis. And so we work a lot with even Fortune 50 companies. We have a few Fortune 10 customers, and we have some of the biggest organizations in Israel as well, from the biggest bank, the biggest telecom, pharma, and mostly big organizations that work with a big team of security. We're around for about a little bit more than 1.5 years. We've raised $14 million up until now. We have R&D in Israel. Most of the team is there, and we're headquartered here in New York. If anybody is looking for a job in security, or is marketing security in the space, or security engineers, I can talk to you afterwards. Thank you very much.